I'm Dave McHugh for D3Hoops.com, and I'm here at Stevenson University, where Elizabethtown women's basketball has just set history, becoming the first team in Division III women's basketball history to hit 1,000 wins as a program. Of course, third overall. We'll talk a lot about it, but joining me is one of the coaches who was certainly instrumental in that, and Yvonne Kauffman. And Coach, you retired a couple years ago, but I know you've stayed close to the program, and you made sure to make this trip just in case they got 1,000 here at Stevenson. It's got to mean a lot to you.
It does. I really wanted to be here for the 1,000. I really wanted to be coaching for the 1,000, but it took too long, and I just had to give it up. But gave it up to a great coach. I
was going to say two years shy of getting that 1,000. It probably gnaws at you just a little bit.
Know. My goal always was to hit the 1,000 and then retire. But things happen, and I just thought, no, I didn't want to be Joe Paul, and I decided that I had to get out, and it was the right move.
Well, and you leave it in the hands of Sherry Gorman, who played for you, won a national title, played in 3 championship games for you, and, of course, a lot of the wins under her belt as a player and now as a coach. What's it mean to see someone from your own program help achieve this goal?
Well, first off, she was 105 and 11 in her 4 years there. So, and she was the point guard. So she was always a coach on the floor. So when I was giving it up and I knew she was applying for the job, I knew that she would be very, very good. She's just a terrific person.
Of the 1,000 wins, I think you account for about 629 of them.
89.
89, so I shorted you 60. That's a lot of wins for any division, for any coach, not to mention a huge chunk of 1,000. And when you look back, can you even believe you had that many wins?
No. I didn't think I'd last at Elizabethtown more than 5 years.
That's a little longer.
A little longer. But the wins just kept coming. And the thing is, I was really fortunate to be able to recruit. And way back in the days, I recruited some really good athletes like Sherry. And was just very fortunate to have great athletes, great assistant coaches. And we just kind of kept marching along, and it's been such a great thing. I mean, I'm just overwhelmed by all that's happened and getting 1,000 wins, being the first Division III school, and then also to just be behind Tennessee and La Tech, I think it is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not too bad.
To go up there with Pat Summitt in Tennessee, who have to play a lot more games. It's pretty significant.
Well, we did beat Tennessee to 800.
That's true.
And so that was really a biggie. So I just wanted to see us get to the 1,000 now.
Well, 1,000 maybe doesn't really register in a lot of people's minds, but again, first one in Division III, third one ever in women's basketball. That number doesn't maybe add up for some people. If you were to try and tell somebody how significant that number is, how would you describe it?
I'm not sure. Just by what you said, the first Division III school, the third school to do it in women's basketball, but you just think of 1,000, and if you think of 999 and then one more, I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I was. 999 almost sounds more than 1,000.
Yeah.
And so I'm just overwhelmed that the school could do it. And, we would not have done it without a lot of the pioneers before me.
Sure.
They started basketball in 1928. And we had a lot of good coaches back then, especially one, Ira Herr, who coached everything. And we were one of the first schools when Division III women could have athletic scholarships.
Yeah.
We got them. We were taken aside and said, hey, we want to equalize you to the men. The men hit athletic scholarships. We're going to allow you to have some. I was able to recruit a lot of good kids because of that. And they were only like $300 or $400 scholarships, sure. But back then it meant a lot.
When you look at your career there and the wins you had totaled and the program you helped build, you talk about the predecessors, but you had a huge role in putting Elizabethtown pretty much on the forefront of people's minds when they talk about women's basketball in Division III. Certainly the 1,000 wins means a much, but what about just the fact that E-Town is such a popular name and one that comes off of a lot of coaches' minds pretty quick?
I know, and that's the neat thing, when I talk to people. Oh, you're from Elizabethtown. Oh, did you have something to do with this? Yeah, a little bit. So it is. It's very, very impressive and very humbling at the same time. And, I thought about leaving the school a few times, but the schools that wanted me, I didn't want, and the schools that I wanted didn't want me, so I stayed.
And I'm sure Elizabethtown is more than happy that you stayed. I'd love to get your take on the changes in women's basketball. You got to see them first and foremost. You talk about the academic and scholarships, the transition to Division III, moving into playing and always at a high level, 3 national championship games. The evolution of the game. I'd love to get your point of view. Right? 4, true.
Well, here's the thing. I played 6-player. And so, it's just overwhelming to see what is done today. I mean, the games used to be 18 to 20 at the end. And the first year I coached, I think, was the first year of the 5-person game. Okay. And I had a really hard time. I had to go to clinics, read books, and, the whole works. But then, you got the 3-point line, you got the 30-second clock, you got the smaller ball, and it's just really evolved. I mean, and the spectators. You never used to have spectators. Maybe a few parents here or there, but you usually played at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so you didn't see anybody. So the pressures were so much greater at the end than they were in the beginning. The pressures in the beginning were all my own pressures, which were pretty substantial.
What about the evolution of talent? It just seems nowadays in Division III women's basketball, the talent pool has actually gotten deeper, and now you have a lot of good teams across the board.
You do. I think we've lost something in that, though, in that players are only playing one sport. Yeah. And I really hate to see that. I really liked when they could play 2 or 3 sports. And we have a couple players on this team that have played 2 sports, but it doesn't happen very often, and a lot of coaches won't even recruit them if they play another sport. And I always tried to get, I went out and recruited a girl in basketball, and she became an All-American field hockey player for me. So, you just never knew, because when they get out of high school, they haven't reached their peak yet in any sport. So I think that's the one thing that suffered with Title IX, with the move up.
I hope the field hockey coach appreciated your move for recruiting the player that eventually helped them.
It was me.
Even better.
I was the coach.
So
I
no
was
wonder
the field hockey coach.
I was going to ask next, how many teams have you coached at Elizabethtown?
3. Field hockey, basketball, and tennis.
I'm sure you love all 3, and basketball certainly was the most significant. Do you have a specific game, maybe the championship, or a specific moment in your career that maybe matches this 1,000th win?
Well, my 1,000th win as a coach overall was with my hockey team, and they were not going to lose that game. I mean, we played a team that was ranked 5th in the nation, and it was York College. And we weren't ranked. My players went out there, and they couldn't do anything wrong. I mean, they went for every ball, and they won 3-0. So.
Kind of seems similar to the team tonight against Stevenson.
Exactly.
They really fought. Stevenson fought back. It was a really nip-and-tuck game, especially near the end. Stevenson made a nice little run there to try and close it out. Is there ever a little bit of a coaching nerve on the sideline or wanting to jump on there to help them?
No. It's all hers. I don't know what they do at practice. Sometimes I have my own opinions, but again, people had opinions with me, and they didn't know what we did at practice. So, no, I think I left at the right time, and I think that it's time that she has the say, and I have talked to her sometimes, though.
Well, she is your former player. I'm sure you got a little bit of pull. Yes. Finally, what was your first thought when the buzzer sounded?
Yes, we did it. And this is it, because you always go to these games and you're so afraid you're not going to win that game when people are here for it. So it was just those last 3 minutes probably were a little breathtaking there. And to see them pull it out, and some of the players just played really well. I mean, Rachel Forjon made her foul shots. Taylor Kreider was just crashing the boards and cutting. I mean, they couldn't stop her. No. And it was just really great to see.
I know you would rather have done it maybe at home, but getting the win when you could get the chance to do it was probably a little bit better.
Yeah. And you're not sure when you're going to be at home, because our next game's away as well. So, hey, we'll take 1,000 no matter where, because I knew you'd be here, Dave.
Very nice. Well, thank you. I'm glad I could be here. Yvonne Kauffman, she's a former Elizabethtown head coach. She's responsible for 689 of what is now 1,000 wins in the program's history. Congratulations to the program, and we'll talk to other people about this as we go on. I'm Dave McHugh for D3Hoops.com.